What's up, my seekers? And welcome back to All the Things Sort of Truth, the only chapter-by-chapter reread and commentary on the Sort of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade.
And this week we're going to be getting into Chapter 8 of Wizard's First Rule. How you doing, JD?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty excited.
I know. I like this chapter. I'm super ready to go.
Well, before we do, we're going to get into a little bit of news. The main news is that Wasteland just came out. That is the third book in the new novella series that Terry is putting out. And people are really, really digging it from what I've seen.
Cool. I can't wait to read it. I got a notification on my Kindle today that said it was in my library. And it had slipped my mind this morning. So I was like, yes! But then I had to, work. So I still couldn't read it.
Yay, new book. Oh, obligations.
Right.
The next book is coming out in January. That's going to be The Witch's Oath. So look forward to that one.
Speaking of books, we're still running our book giveaway. We have 3 books for you guys. We have The Omen Machine, we have The Third Kingdom, and Severed Souls. All you need to do is leave a review of this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts and send a screenshot to podcastatt@gmail.com. Then that's it. You're done. And at the end of this month, we will notify you if you are the winner and send it to you. We're going to take care of shipping and all that stuff. That's not on you. There's no catch. It's just free books.
Right. We're going to put all the names that are submitted into a randomization website. And so it's not going to be favoritized at all. It's just going to be completely random. So get on that before the end of October, guys.
We just started this giveaway, so I will tell you now, your chances are still pretty good. Towards the end of the month, I can't say. But as of right now, you got good odds.
But that's it. That's all the news we have.
All right. Well, if you're ready, I am.
So ready.
Cool. I'm excited. And unfortunately, there's no way for me to really not spoil this one in the synopsis. So if you're listening, this is Chapter 8. If you're not there yet, shut it off real quick. I'll give you 3 seconds. I think they're gone.
It's just us now, guys.
It's just us now, guys. It's cool. In this chapter, we finally get to meet the namesake of the whole series, the Sword of Truth.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Let's get into it. So, Richard wakes up at the beginning of the chapter. He smells spice soup, and he realizes that he's at Zed's house when he recognizes the knots in the wood that he is used to making faces in. And I thought that was a fun little detail because we all do that. When you're bored, you make little faces in whatever you can. That's a natural human thing.
That kind of adds to the point I had. It does mention that he's in his room at Zed's house.
I didn't realize it said that. I think I listened to it so quick that slipped right by me.
Yeah, it says it's in his room in Zed's house, so I don't know if he is just there so often. He has a place to sleep whenever he crashes at Zed's. I think that might lend to why all of the knots in the wood on the wall look so familiar to him.
That would make sense. In my head, too, I guess I totally thought that Zed's house was mostly one room. I think that might come from the show again, because I think in the show it's just like Hagrid's hut, kind of like one room hut. But no, it's totally his own room in there. I guess I just didn't realize that it was a separate room, but it totally is. There's a door on there and everything. So he wakes up and he's alone, still wearing his dirty clothes with a chair next to the bed.
And, he wakes up and the first thing he does is he feels his chest for the tooth. And I know the tooth is important to Richard, but I guess I didn't understand why he was so worried that the tooth might not be there. Or is it just like a Pulp Fiction thing? All I give a fuck about's the watch.
It is a little bit funny, though, because he cares. It's the first thing he does when he wakes up. But a couple chapters ago, he totally left it at home.
That's right. He did. That's the whole reason we had to go back to the house. He needed the pack. He needed the tooth.
Right. And he wasn't even in, like, a hurry when he left that time. When he left it there. He was just going out to fuck around in the woods. So, little contradiction there, Richard.
That's good. I never thought of that.
But he does hear Kaylin outside of the open window, and he's like, gotta get out there as quick as possible. So he realizes that his hand's all wrapped up, but he feels really good, even if he feels a little gross and hungry.
Now, the last time we saw Kaylin and Zed together, they were like threatening each other. They were both kind of saying, don't hurt Richard, or I'll hurt you, or I'll make you do this, or I'll get back at you that way. And that happens as Richard is passed out. He wakes up and they're just laughing. They're happy. It's just a much different dynamic than where we left them last time.
Right, and we did see both of them were actually pretty worried at the end of the last chapter. Kaylin was like, no, I'm going to sit here with him and watch him as this fever breaks. And Zed was going to go talk to spirit parents because he was all scared. But now that they're both outside laughing, that's a totally different feeling.
Right.
Obviously, they aren't worried anymore. And then Richard notices the giant tub of warm water in the middle of the room with soap and towels and a set of his clean clothes all, like, folded up. Which also lends to it being his room. Like, he's got a whole stock of shit there, apparently.
Right, he's leaving clothes overnight. I bet he's got a toothbrush in the bathroom, too.
I don't know why that made me laugh. It did. Him and Zed stacking it up.
That means something. If you leave a toothbrush, that's serious.
Things have progressed.
Right. And it also says that Richard normally likes to take a long soak, but he doesn't have time right now. And isn't that every time? I never can take a long enough shower. In the morning, you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. I'm like, give me a solid 40. That's maybe enough. I don't take that many baths, but, you know, it's still never enough time.
This has also had to have been like a pretty, like, it had to be kind of a drawn out process for them to have brought the tub into the room, filled it with warm water, and had him not notice, because they don't have, like, running water.
Yeah, so they either had to carry it in full, which would be near impossible, or would it? Because technically we know that Zed's a wizard from the last chapter.
Right, but Kaylin doesn't. Like, he'd have to have been very sneaky, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Kaylin doesn't have any idea, so he couldn't have just, like, floated it in there.
Right.
So then the only other option is carry the tub in, heat the water on the fire, bring the water to the tub. Or it could be like a firelit tub with coals underneath it, keeping it warm.
That we just didn't hear about in the beginning.
Right, that you just have to be extremely careful with in a wooden hut. He doesn't live in a hut, it's a house.
Yeah, it's a house. But they had to have either, like you said, had to have had a fire underneath it, but you still have to bring the water in there for it not to be gross water.
Yeah, the water is warm, so most likely they just set up a tub, brought hot water in as it warmed up over the fire, which really wouldn't take that long, I don't think. It's just a matter of walking in and out of the room a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Either way, he had a hot bath, but he didn't waste too much time in there. He just, like, got cleaned up, got the hell out, because he wanted to go meet his friends outside.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like whenever you get naked and you can hear your friends in the other room, it's a... you never want to spend too much time doing it, you know?
Well, our friends will fuck with us, so, yeah. It's probably best to get out.
Get it done. So when he climbs his ass out of the tub and gets into the other room, Zed and Kaylin are sitting at the table. She looks clean and her dress looks washed, which I thought was interesting, because she definitely had to have, like, taken one of Zed's nightshirts and, like, hung out for a little while he did that.
And, of course, that's the first thing Richard would notice.
When did she get naked?
Ooh, she looks good. Yeah, when did she have her clothes off again? Damn it.
And there's a big bowl of warm soup waiting next to them with cheese and bread, which is really nice when somebody makes you something you don't even have to try.
Dude woke up and had a hot bath and a hot meal waiting for him. How nice is that? I think you're absolutely right. That is a good thing to wake up to.
Right, and cheese and bread? Heck yeah!
Well, the part I liked about it is that when he wakes up in the beginning of the chapter, he has 3 main complaints. Now, all of those 3 have been solved within, like, 2 minutes.
Like, Zed knew what his problem was going to be, and he solved it for him before he could even think about it.
Yeah. He was tired and in pain. He slept and is not in pain. He was dirty and hungry. So now he's clean and now he's being fed.
Well, and this does kind of show how good of friends Zed and Richard are, because at the first time before we even met Zed, Richard's like, gotta bring food. Gotta make sure that Zed's fed. And Zed, in turn, does the same thing for Richard. He's like, gotta make sure that boy gets a nice bath and some food. First thing.
Get some food in there, boy. And he makes a comment about not expecting to sleep until noon, and they just laugh at him. And that's when Kaylin's like, it's the second noon, bud. You've been asleep for 2 days.
Yeah. which, again, after a real bad trip, like the one he just had, you're gonna sleep for a couple days. You need to recover.
It's also like drinking way too much at the bar. You're going to need at least a day to recover after that.
Yeah, especially after 30, which we know Richard is. You need... Those hangovers are not as easy as they used to be.
Right, that ain't no child's play.
No. Richard is like, I'm fine. Thank you guys so much. Look at my hand. I can fucking move it. I'm good. Good to go. And he said... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you got it.
He mentions that it itches a little bit, and Caitlin's like, my mom always said it, if it itched, it gets it's getting better. Caitlin said that her mom always said that if it was itching, it was healing. And, I mean, my mom always said that too. Don't fucking itch it, because it's healing. You're going to make it worse. And it sounds like Richard's did too. I think that that's a mom thing.
I also kind of sympathize with, like, I also kind of tie it to our kids. When Zave broke his arm, and he had it in this cast, and he's like, it's itching. It's itching. And you're like, you can't scratch it though, buddy. But it's getting better, we promise. He's like, I don't care. I want to scratch it.
I want to rip my arm off.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little back and forth about the soup here, and how Zed thinks that hers tastes better, and Richard is going to remind him of that, and Caitlin's like, pretty sure he would eat dirt. And so far, we know that that's pretty true about Zed.
Yeah, he's always hungry. He'll eat it all.
He'll eat anything.
Right.
And not gain an ounce. Ass.
So, anyways.
But Zed said that Caitlin could make dirt taste good, and that Richard should take some lessons from her. And it's nice when people like your cooking.
I can honestly say, you cook the best. And my scale knows the truth of that.
Well, it's obvious to Richard that Caitlin has waited to ask for Zed's help. They haven't gotten too deep into anything while he's been sleeping. They've been just kind of relaxing and having fun, getting to know each other.
That is after they gave Richard the medicine. Before then, it was kind of intense between them.
Richard doesn't know about any of that, though.
No, Richard doesn't know, but they both totally know why Caitlin's there. That's the point I was going to make.
Yeah.
She didn't ask, but they both know why she's there.
Right.
The words just have not been said.
Right. They got past that tension, though, and so they've moved on, and Richard can't feel it at all.
Yeah, he has no idea. He thinks they've just been hunky-dory hanging out this whole time, just waiting for him to wake up. Probably everybody's at ease now because he was given the medicine, he was getting better, so they could relax a little.
Yeah. Zed comes in, and he's like, there is one thing I don't trust about her, though, Richard. And it puts Richard right on edge. He's like, shit, what is it? And there's this big lead up, and he's like, she doesn't like cheese. How can you trust anybody that doesn't fucking like cheese? And I totally get where he's coming from.
I mean, yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Other than some people who might be extremely lactose intolerant, I don't see why there's a reason to not like cheese.
Right.
Like, at all.
I mean, in this day and age, even vegans have, like, non-dairy cheese.
Oh, absolutely. That's a necessity.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just not going to not eat cheese. What's going on?
We're going to find a way to make that work. So I totally get Zed being like, I'm going to watch this one. But yeah, it's a funny little moment that Zed leads up to and then pops the little tension bubble there.
Yeah.
So as he starts to finish his meal, he knows he has to get into business questions. And he asks about the quad. Caitlin mentions that Zed did a cloud rating and they're not coming. They're gone. And Zed said they must have run into trouble. And Richard's like, oh, really? And Zed says, it's true as toasted toads. This is something that apparently he's told Richard ever since he was little to make sure that he knows he's telling the truth. It's not something that's questionable.
It's something that Richard associates with Zed saying, for real, really, it's the truth.
Right.
If it's true as toasted toads, he could put his life on it.
Even though it's a funny thing.
Right.
But, do you know what's true as toasted toads?
What's that, JD?
That it's time for a news break.